back to, once again, another Napoleon Total War video. So this is going to be fought on Savoy Hilltop, and this was sent in to me by Chef. So thank you very much for the replay. So Chef is going to be in command of Russia. You can see he's going to be bringing a massive cav force, and his ally over here is also going to be in command of Russia. So during this battle, this is the first time I'm seeing it, but people are going to want to push to the top of this hill right here. If you have the hill terrain, you more than likely will win the game. So that is exactly what both teams are doing. Now, you can see Chef is going to be pushing up a light unit. Not too sure why he's going to be pushing them up that far, kind of isolating themselves, but I guess he's just going to try and skirmish and draw the attention away from the rest of his forces, so it kind of delays the enemy's push up this hill. But you can just see there is a lot of cavalry this game. You see Sweden brought 5 cav here. We got the French brought 4 or 5 cav here as well. We have the first skirmish engagement. Nope. Where's the sound effects? Come on. Come on. There we go. There's the sound effects. There we go. Alright, so a lot of cav, like I said. Russia bringing a lot of mounted rifles. And I believe that is... whose is that? I think that's Chef's rifles. So a ton of cavalry. And he's going to be facing some mounted Jaegers as well. So there is going to be pretty much a light fight on horses. But they're going to be lining up their forces on top of this hill. And you can see his main line is in the back right here. And he's pushing up in bulk right now. You can see a lot of musketeers. Don't know if he brought any elite troops. Yes, he did. He brought some lifeguard foot. And then his ally over here is going to be pushing up. Now you can see he's kind of pushing up a little bit more inward, so I believe he's going to be taking the lower part of the hill, as to where Chef's going to be taking the higher part. Excuse me, this is the allies player. Chef's ally is in command of these mounted rifles. He's brought a ton of them. He also brought Count von Bengzeman. I probably butchered that. Excuse me. But yeah, France though, he's pushing up, but looks like he's taking his time. Or maybe not. He's probably at the very bottom, so it's taking him longer. But the skirmish engagement is still continuing. Don't know why these Jaegers are getting so close to those Russian Jaegers. They do have the range advantage, so. And you can see this is on ultra settings. What? I don't know why these guys don't have sound effects. That's very, very surprising. There we go. But looks like he's going to be pulling back. He's taking quite some losses right now. And like the guy said, guys are getting fatigued after running up this hill. But it's just a standoff right now between these two cav forces. And boy, does it look cool. A ton of cavalry on this hill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cav units. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, so it looks like some mounted rifles are going to be charging into some Shisheville. We got the French cavalry now pushing up. Looks like there's going to be an engagement right here. First volleys. Killing quite a few guys. The Chasseurs are going to get into it with the enemy Russian cav. And here we go. Slow cav charge just because these guys are tired, but you can see the engagement has started. Pretty hard to tell who's who at this point, seeing that they are both green. We also have some Lancers in there in the mix. Those Lancers are going to cause a lot of devastation. But it looks like these mounted rifles are just getting really destroyed right now from this line of infantry. You see a lot of volleys are being fired, and this cavalry is just not looking good. You see that one mounted rifle unit has broken. The other Ulan unit's doing alright. You see he's trying to charge down these Jaegers right now. Doing a pretty good job here, but he's suffering quite a lot of losses just because this line of infantry is so close. So, I mean, I don't know if that was too effective, but look at this. Another massive cav push. Point blank shots, and now a huge clash of cavalry right now. And these are both very even units. Both very similar skill levels. You see them shooting right now on horseback. Now you gotta be careful of friendly fire, making sure you do not shoot your own guys. But look at this, Sweden getting some really nice shots in on these mounted rifles right here. Sweden doesn't have really any line to support this cavalry right now, but you see the French French guy is going to be pushing up his cav force now, and he has lancers, so he's gonna be Russia's gonna be at a big disadvantage on this flank right here. You see the Russian cav not doing so well in morale, but over here Sweden's not looking too good either. You see Russia's really outnumbering them. Good job there by the general, inspiring his troops, making sure they do not break. But what a clash of cavalry! This is just insane. So many cav units right now. So here comes the lancers. You see their lancers are out, and they're going to be fighting those mounted rifles. Man, what a clash. You see the morale for France is not looking good right now. But Russia over here on the left flank, he broke that unit. You see, there are some Jaegers that are firing into the mix, so they're going to be shooting a lot of Russians, but it is not looking good for the Russians right now. You see their numbers are getting very low compared to the enemy, and he's actually shooting his own guys in the back, so that is not good. So what seemed to be a really close game actually turned out to be quite the opposite, and you see all these Russians just routing, and extremely high numbers too. I mean, 45 out of 80, I mean, it's still very high. And gives some more Russian cavalry, trying to even the odds a little bit, but it is a defeat on the Russians' part. They have suffered way too many losses, and just look at the amount of cavalry just running away from this battlefield. Insane amount of cavalry. So that, what an opener. I mean, look at the carnage just from that first cavalry engagement. This is just insane. Just shows you how fierce it is when people want to take the hill. Got some more Russian cavalry charging into the Jaegers. Getting shot in the flank by some lifeguards afoot. They do reach the Jaegers, but there is some line infantry there that's going to be forming square very slowly. And there are some lights in the back, or line in the back. So now France has pushed up, you know, a fair distance. But right now, just setting up battle lines. It looks like Chef's going to be shifting over a lot of his units now. You see he still has them over here on this end of the battlefield. I think he's too concerned about his cavalry to move them at the moment. But it looks like he will be moving them shortly. You see Sweden now is going to be pushing up once again. Not too sure why these guys... Oh, never mind, they're facing the right way. I thought they were facing the opposite direction. But looking over here, you can see the Russians have a slight hill advantage, you can see. And that's going to play a big role as well. So with the enemy having the cav advantage, it's going to force Chef and his ally to really work together and make sure his forces are very tightly grouped, because if you get your lights really isolated and you have no cavalry to support them, it's really not going to be good for you. So he's going to have to really manage his lights properly in order to counter that cavalry and form a ton of squares as well. So it looks like those Jaegers are firing, but it looks like they're shooting right into the dirt. There is a hill here preventing those shots from hitting any of these guys. But just look at the routing cavalry. I mean, look at this. Insane. And they're going back to Russia. So many numbers. At least no generals have died, so that is good. Russia still has a small cav force, very small presence, but it still is a big presence having cavalry, so that's going to mean a lot for them. But luckily, Russia didn't lose too much in terms of funds. Mounted rifles, they are decently expensive, so he didn't pay too much of a price. But he really did drop a lot of those lights numbers, at least for Sweden. But looks like we got the French player now pushing up. And are they taking losses is the question. I think they are. Some stray volleys are killing them. A couple of shots here and there at those Russian Jaegers are killing them. So right now it's just a standoff. I believe they're just going to try and freshen up. They've taken a lot of losses. Once again, the cavalry still running away from the battlefield. It's so many numbers. Got a horseless rider right there. So things have calmed down. You can see he's got some Russian Jaegers down at the very base of the hill. Looks like he's going to be pushing them up, seeing that there is no point in having them down there. But they're going to be reforming right now. Still don't know why Chef hasn't been pushing up his force. Maybe he's just wanting to rest them up, but they do look fresh for the most part. And he does have some lights that he probably should be pushing up to the front line, but there always is a reason for not doing that. Maybe he wants reinforcements, I don't know. But anyways, it looks like the French player is going to be pushing his cavalry, or reforming his cavalry. You see he still has a very big presence right there. The continual skirmish is still engaging, but wasting a lot of ammunition. You see a lot of those shots are hitting the rocks. But now it looks like Sweden's going to be pushing up his lights now. But very, very good formation by Sweden. You see he's very spread out, and he has multiple lines. So in case cavalry does come charging through like before, he's able to counter that with lines and lines of line of infantry behind that to fire. So very effective move right there, and it really prevented a lot of losses. But over here you can see France is now going to be pushing up on those Jaegers. Great volley by the Jaegers on here, on those Russian Jaegers, bringing them down to 33 men, and they're not going to be able to counter this massive Jaeger force, and those guys will eventually break. They do have they're really isolated right now. But the French force is now going to be pushing around. Looks like he's got some cavalry he's going to be wrapping around the flank. And it looks like they're just going to form a little box on top of this hill, seeing that they do have the hill superiority, or at least on this side of the battlefield. You see the French cavalry continuing to push. Engagement is still continuing for these lights. Let's take a look at some of these units. So they do have a lot of Swiss foot. They actually have some old guard. It's like 3 old guards, so that is good. He's brought a general staff. I hear some cavalry. Looks like the cavalry, 1 cavalry unit is going to be sent to charge into those Jaegers. But I don't think he realizes that there's a mounted rifle unit in this force that's hidden. And let's see what he does with this. So he's going to bring them out now. He's going to try and... wow, okay, so very smart move on whoever's part. Can't really tell who it is. I think it's Chef, but great job here. Going to force or isolate these guys behind these Jaegers. And he's going to get a really... I was going to say really nice shot off, but seeing that most of those shots actually hit the hill, not going to work out too well. He did get a couple volleys off on the far right of his unit, but he's going to be charging into Lancers. Now, he does have the downhill charge, but still, they are Lancers, and they could cause a lot of damage. You see, instantly bringing them down to red morale. Those Lancers should easily win that engagement. So, 15 to 23. I think these Lancers have it in the bag right now. Or maybe not. 22 to 14. Oh, friendly fire. I think both of these units are going to break. No, they stand strong. You see a lot of friendly fire there on that end of the French player. But it looks like the French player is victorious on this flank, breaking that Jaeger unit. But Russia still stands still. He's brought a lot of militia, so he might use those as a meat shield unit. You can see the light infantry is going to be pushed up to the front lines now, getting ready for action. And like I said over here on the right flank, he still has a presence, so we will see how he's going to use that cavalry effectively. So I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. It is a slow part of the battle. You can see Sweden's going to be pushing up his lights right now. He's got some Jaegers, but he's going to keep his allies, or Russian ally, is going to keep his units in the tree lines. So that's going to prevent any severe casualties, just because those trees are going to block a lot of those shots. So smart move there. Oop. Almost missed it. So we got some mounted rifles charging into the 6th Regiment. Great charge there, really bringing down the numbers. And not only is he going to charge into the 6th Regiment, but he's going to continue his charge into those Voltigeurs. You see, bringing those French troops back. He's trying to run them back to his lines, where the Swedish line are opening up. So it looks like the Russians are not going to get away with this. They are going to rout, but he did bring a lot of losses to those lights. So I'd say that is a pretty even trade. I just gotta take a look at this. Look at all this carnage. Unbelievable amount of bodies. Alright, so we're gonna continue once again. Like I said, a lot of reserves still. And Russia still has 1 cav unit left, so it looks like Russia is going to be encircled pretty much from all angles, or at least on these 2 fronts. And if he really wanted to, he could flank around, but there's still a force back here. So they're going to be pushing up right now. Looks like we got some... Okay, smart move here. He's got some militia right now that's going to be opening up on the 6th Regiment. And I believe his Russian ally is going to be using this militia unit as a meat shield, so it wastes ammunition. I might be wrong. You see some Russian Jaegers are now engaging. But like I said, with the tree lines and the way the hill's shaped or formed, it's not going to be that effective. So this battle, you're really going to have to rely on line infantry, I would say, rather than range, because you can only shoot so far before the range, drops off, or there's things obstructing your view, such as the hills and trees. But they are getting the occasional kills there, but that is good. Looks like Sweden's going to be pushing up on the left flank, their left flank. He's got some Russian Jaegers. Looks like he's going to be countering with his own lights. And these Jaegers are really firing a lot of volleys into these guys, but like I said, that terrain is really going to prevent them from getting a lot of kills. And now things are really starting to pick up. You see the light engagement has begun. We got some cavalry or something charging. Looks like some militia charging into those lights. Good volley by the Russian Jaegers, dropping those Jaegers down quite a bit of men. Militia doing a phenomenal job taking those volleys like a man. You see that guy just bit the dust right there. But they're just going to hold strong right here and just take their losses. See right here, we got the French cavalry now pushing up. It's going to be an uphill charge, so they're going to really slow down. Let's see, any friendly fire? A little bit of friendly fire there. So it looks like the Russian player is going to be trying to pull back his force, his light force, but they are pretty tired. But look at this, great job by that line of infantry. Really getting a nice volley in on those cavalry units, and you see only 1 Lancer unit's left, and he has only 19 guys. Really not going to be too effective in his charge now, just because he's going uphill. Not only that, he is in the trees, so it's really going to slow them down, and it looks like they are just walking. Over here, things have really picked up. Looks like Russia's just going in for the charge. Really big rush right now. You see he's sending over a ton of troops right now. And you see they kind of have 2 lines. I'm not too sure why Chef is so far back when his allies all the way up here. There is always a reason for things. So we will see what happens. We got some militia that's going to be catching these lifeguard of foot off guard. Meanwhile, these musketeers are going to be opening up on them. It's a great job there. We got some mounted rifles now pushing up. He has to be careful of these stakes, though. There are some stakes that are laying around the battlefield. But good job there breaking those Jaegers. And now the Russian line of infantry is really getting into the heat of things. You see, they do have the hill advantage, but these musketeers are taking some severe losses. The militia did break, but now the Russian line of infantry is going to be continuing to push up. But this time, militia continuing to charge in. This time it is up against some line infantry. Now, doing that charge, really smart move. It created a lot of opportunities to get some really nice volleys in before those lifeguard of foot could respawn. And you see, they are just about to respawn now. Still haven't even responded yet. You see up on the hill, those mounted Jaegers are shooting. We got 1 lone Russian running across the battlefield. No man's land right now. And yeah. But over here, things have really picked up. Like I said, using the militia and then pushing up his line of infantry. And this time, that militia is going up against the old guard. So they do break, no surprise whatsoever. But this is going to allow, like I said, Russia some time to get some really nice volleys off. You see dropping those old guard. Looks like the old guard are actually going to be charging into these lines. Russia's going to get that counter charge. Oh no, it looks like the old guard are turning around. You never want to turn your back against a charge. Not a good thing at all. So Sweden is continuing to engage. Good move here on the enemy's part, using the mounted Jaegers, putting them right behind the line of infantry to maximize firepower. Good job there. But it looks like Chef's ally is doing most of the work on this right flank. You see he's shifting over quite a few units on the left flank to counter this massive line force that's waiting. We have some more militia charging into some line infantry. But you see the lines are getting very thin right here for Russia. And it looks like Chef should probably support or fill those gaps in, because they are suffering way too many losses. Meanwhile, on the right flank, things are looking pretty even, I would say. The old guard really do make things a lot even, much more even. But you see these lifeguard afoot are really in the thick of things right now against these old guard. But they are lifeguard afoot, so they should deal a decent amount of pain to those old guard. You see some, looks like the final mounted Jaeger unit, or rifle unit has been charged into the line of infantry. But over here, Russia's making a pretty interesting push right now. Looks like he is outnumbered in terms of line of infantry, and yet he's still going to continue to push. So interesting move here. But he does have elite troops, so that can be have quite the impact. But like I said, he's going to be shooting the hill here. I'd say about 90% of those volleys hit the hill, and some went over. But these Russian Jaegers are a little too close, but they are going to get some more accurate firepower, and they're going to be backed up by some lifeguard afoot. Okay, so right here. Okay, so France should be capitalizing on this. You can see Russia's going to be forced to pull back now, seeing that his center, there is no more of a center. But over here, Russia's doing a really good job right now, using his skilled troops and really maximizing their effectiveness. So you see he's going to be charging. He knows he's going to win this engagement in melee, so he's going to continue to charge into these Swiss foot. So good move there. He does a little fake charge, actually, makes those guys form square, and he's going to get some point-blank volleys in. Let's check this out. Oh, we got some people doing the moonwalk right now. Oh, are they going to fire? No, they're going to be put back into melee. So, lifeguard foot are being forced to push up. I wouldn't suggest that, just because he's literally getting shot by 3 units. Not only that, some Jaegers are shooting too. But he's going to charge. He still has some healthy numbers, so he's going to continue to push. But over here, the Swiss foot are really feeling it right now. Those lifeguard foot are really causing a lot of devastation. Meanwhile, on this side of the battlefield, not too much has gone on. Continual engagement. Musketeers up against some lifeguard afoot. And now it looks like Chef's going to be shifting over some more units now, seeing that he does need them in certain places. So I would say right now, Chef and his ally are not looking too great. They don't have the positioning, you could say. Well, over here they do. They have the hill advantage. But over here, they're getting very thinned out. Actually, I take that back. That massive French force seemed to just disappear. Wow. So they did break the Swiss foot. They're going to gang up on this 18th Regiment. I do not know how they did that. Very, very interesting. But Sweden is going to continue to push up. And now Russia is going to be sending over many more forces now. It looks like they're going to be protecting these 2 lifeguard foot as they push up. We got some militia now. Going to get some volleys in on those lights. Dropping a couple of them. Good job there. Look at this. The old guard are continuing to push up with their fellow lifeguards afoot. 2 very elite units. But look at this. Russia did break those 18th Regiment. Those guys are pretty elite too, so breaking those really going to impact the game, but they do lose a lifeguard foot unit. But look at this. Russia does have a big presence now. They did reform to send some reserves over. But on the right flank, I would say Russia is kind of at a disadvantage right now. He really doesn't have the manpower, but he does have the terrain, so I think he's just going to stick back and make the Swedish attack now, because he was attacking this entire time. Plus he has Old Guard, and you never want to go up against Old Guard with 2 lifeguard afoot right behind that unit. So we got even more Old Guard over here. 3 Old Guard units still. So, interesting formations. You can see Russia's going to be flanking the line of infantry, but like I said, terrain's going to play a big factor this game, and all these bullets are going to be hitting the hill. So if he was 10 yards, closer, he would be, all those volleys would hit. Same over here. Not a single volley is going to hit. So whenever you guys are playing your matches, always zoom in to the eye level with your troops, just to make sure they are shooting over that hill, because you never know if they're not. So it looks like we got some militia charging into those Jaegers. Oh wait, what? That guy just got stabbed and he didn't get stabbed. I don't know if he saw that, but he did kill him anyways. Let's check out who's gonna win. Come on, stab him. Oh wait, what the heck? Some weird things are happening right now. Anyways, the French light force is very healthy still. I'm wondering if they're getting low on ammunition, because they have been firing for a lot this game, a lot of the time. But look at this, we got one musketeer unit, not too sure what he's doing. Looks like he's gonna go down here, I have no clue. But right now, Russia's looking really good on this left flank, kind of pinching off the most of the other units. Meanwhile, Russia on this far right flank is not looking good whatsoever. They are getting overran. You see he's forming square with his lifeguard foot up against some line infantry. So he should win that engagement. He does have his general nearby to inspire his troops, making sure they do not break. But now France is training his forces over to their right flank now, and pushing up his line and lights. And he's going to be outflanked by some Swiss foot. So it looks like these guys are now out of ammo. I hear charging, or maybe not. But on this left flank, things are looking good, very good for Russia right now. You can see going to get into melee action. People dying left and right. Then we have some musketeers over here as well, and they're going to be firing up on that hill. So they are losing some troops. Oh, this guy's about to get stabbed. Oh. But Sweden does have that hill advantage, just slightly though, very slightly. Meanwhile, we have this one poor musketeer unit getting ganged up on by at least 6 units. Morale is getting pretty bad for them, so it looks like the French or Russian players are going to be shifting over some lights just to get some nice flanking fire and hopefully turn these odds. You see red morale for those musketeers there at 92 men still. Russia did hold their ground though on this far right flank. They are holding strong, but there's still a huge presence of Old Guard. Now, if I were the enemy, I would be pushing up these Old Guard just because they can easily win this engagement. One volley and that unit's already gone. But over here, Russia did break that, or lose that unit. Wow, things have changed once again over here. Looks like this Russian unit is going to be ganged up on by 2 sides, the Swiss foot from behind, and that line infantry on the left flank. So things are very, very close right now. But I would still have to say the enemy force is at the advantage, or has the advantage. Now these musketeers are forced with dealing with a ton of more units. Light presence still very strong, and Russia is not looking good on this far right flank. Don't know why he hasn't pushed up his musketeer unit. Maybe he just forgot about him. I do not know. But over here we have the cavalry pushing in now up against those lifeguard foot. And they do seem to be holding their ground, maybe even breaking the mounted Jaegers. Yes, they do, but their numbers are way too low, and they do end up breaking as well. Get this, the general himself charged in, but suffered a massive price and died. That was his ally, Ben Distro. And then over here, you see the engagement still continuing. We have some melee going on. This time it's the musketeers up against some light infantry. And you see Sweden is victorious on this far left flank with only 1 musketeer there. But this is not good for France right now. You see this one really healthy musketeer unit's just ganging up on these rifles. Red morale not looking good, so great job here and minimizing or taking out most of the enemy light forces, if not all. And now over here, like I said, the enemy is victorious on this right flank, and they are just uncontested right now. They have 1 musketeer unit still over here just chilling. Might need to push those guys up soon. So things, like I said, are not looking good for the allies, especially when you have Old Guard still on the battlefield. I believe 2 Old Guard. 1 Old Guard broke, so we got 2 Old Guard. We got some rifles now. Russian Jaegers going to be shooting those Old Guard. Every shot is going to count. He needs to maximize his effectiveness with this unit, and he needs to pull back, otherwise these old guard are going to get a really bad volley off. This is going to hurt. Oof, a little late in pulling back. He did suffer a lot of losses, but he did pull back, so that is the good thing. Over here we got some more melee going on. I mean, it's just so much rushing, just left and right, just charging. A lot of charging this game. Some line infantry now engaged with some musketeers. Musketeers should win this, and Russia is doing what they're doing best, and that is melee charging. So look at this. We got the lifeguard now coming up from behind Russia. Are they going to charge in, or are they going to form up and fire? I do not know. But Russia is just continuing his charge right now. It looks like they're getting chased down by some lifeguards afoot. Oh, this is funny. But it does look like he did see that he didn't push up his musketeer unit, so that is what he's doing right now. Another unit out of ammunition, so that is not good. But he still has that one. Oop. He still has that one musketeer unit. He still hasn't used those guys yet, but still very, very close game. Looks like Russia has one in the center, but now he's going to be forced to fight another engagement. This time it's with the old guard. So these musketeers are now forming up to face off with these old guard. They're going to get first volleys. Another unit routing. So this is so hard to see. So Russia has lost pretty much everything. The left flank they've lost. The center flank's very iffy up against those old guard. And the right flank, they are very outnumbered. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Russia can counter this, if he can at all. Very outnumbered right now. And with old guard that's so healthy, it looks like a very, very good GG at this point. You can see just the trail of Russians just running from the battlefield. But they do have a decent presence in this forest right here. But even that, they are getting slaughtered by these old guard. He sees that he has a line unit still, so he's going to be pushing those guys up. But they do have a huge task to face. They got some lifeguard afoot and 3 line infantry and a Swiss foot unit. And now the guy is saying all hope is lost. And that is very, very true. The numbers, he's just outnumbered right now. So we will see what happens. I am hearing charging, but it looks like they didn't charge. Oh, yes they are. So these poor 48 musketeers are just going to get annihilated by these old guard as they come. But they are getting some good shots off as they do run across this field. Maybe they'll get a couple nice shots in. Nope, they're going to form square, but they're going to suffer a massive consequence. So the center is now being overrun, and the only thing there is the general. So the general's not going to charge into 101 guys. And it's a slow charge, so we will see what happens here. Over here on the right flank, the engagement has begun. Looks like a unit came back in the back. Yep, we got some Russian Jaegers there. Outnumbered horribly right now. Another unit came back. So it is, they have 5 units to 12. 5 to 12, so we'll see what happens. And they are getting shot by rifles as well. They're going to be losing a lot of guys. Old guard still healthy. And the enemy or allied general actually broke as well. I think he's going to die. The source is glitching out. Oh, here's the general. Is he going to make it? Oh, will he make it? No, he will not. He is dead. So both generals are dead. Morale is going to instantly drop. And I just don't see them winning this. I do not see them winning this whatsoever. But here we go. Looks like Russia's going to once again charge and rush forward his troops. Oh, very lucky right here. This one hill, small little hill, protected that entire volley and really prevented a lot of losses for Russia. But these Russians are going to charge into old guard. They're getting very desperate right now. But what a good fight. Very, very good fight. But yep, the morale is going back down for the Russians. Old Guard are winning that. Not looking good at all. Those Russian Jaegers did break. I think they just broke because the general died, so they are out of there, but they might come back. They have 45 guys left, so we will see. Over here, Russian troops are breaking left and right as well, but there is still one musketeer unit left, and they do break, and that is GG. So Russia was unable to win that. I guess the cavalry kind of screwed them in the beginning. You just see the carnage, but great game on all sides. You can see everyone getting a ton of kills. Let's take a look at Chef's kills. Musketeers, 269 kills. So really good job by Chef getting a third most kills out of the match. And then we got the Swedish player with almost 2,000. So go check out the 409th Legion. I'm going to put his channel in the description. Chef is a part of that channel, so go check him out. He makes some great content. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, remember to leave a like, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.